And good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the S&P 500 being recorded on Tuesday, September the 30th at 2:25 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I just got to tell you guys that there are times when I feel like, okay, finally got a grip on what this count is and everything seems to be following through just as it should. Then the market decides, no. Let's toss you not only a curveball, but a fast curveball or just a wild curveball. And that's kind of what happened today. Um, got through most of the day seeing what was going on and kind of came up with, okay, this all looks good, and look for that C wave up. Let me just drop down to that 15-minute chart and let me show you. Looking for that C wave up. And then suddenly at the end of the day, they decided, no, we're going to close it where we want to close it. And so there's some huge amounts to be bought. And they did. But my feeling was is that they're going to get up there. They're going to put a new high in above what I had labeled as wave B, and technically just kind of blow it out of the water. And I thought to myself, I bet you 10 to 1 when they're done. They're going to get up there. They're going to get the expiration that they want. So obviously there was some zero DTEs that needed to get taken care of in the SPX. It's very likely it was in the SPX or possibly in the spiders. Because what we also saw today is just on a gamma level, we saw the market just kind of go through. Let me move this. We saw the market go through a lot of different levels. In the spiders, the market, let me just double check to see where those spiders traded today. They opened at 56 to high. Get this. That was the spiders, one down. They opened at 62.93, so we'll say 63. The high was 666 and the low was 661. So now I'm going to go over and I'm going to look. They didn't get up there to really give a good test or even a shout towards the call wall, which remained at 670. But 665 was large gamma 2, went through that. Volatility trigger was 662, went through that. Did not, although I think if they had enough time, they would have gone down and tried to tag large gamma 1, which was at 660. So it went through volatility trigger and went through large gamma 2. But what did it end up doing? It ended up coming back up above the volatility trigger and then again above, uh, let me just see, above the, large gamma 2, and ended up closing, back at 666. So wild and crazy, and then dropped after the bell. Now I was kind of looking for that, and we did. We came straight down, rallied back up, and then fell back down. It it was pretty wild, but I'm pretty sure that all of it had to do with the placement of excuse me, where JP Morgan was going to put their collar. I think it had a lot to do with SPX expiration and what they were going to do after the market to ensure there might have been something out there. They're going to have these calls. They were going to either have them shorted out to people or they were going to, get them exercised. Um, Puts or calls, it doesn't make any difference, but they managed to get it up there. And then, of course, yeah, I just look at it, I thought that was pretty crazy. And I think it had to do with just getting the options are in line or something that they knew they were going to get exercised or assigned, and they just got rid of it right away. So it was pretty wild. It was very wild. And then to bring it all the way back down was also kind of extremely interesting for me in the after hour. So that surge up was while the regular session. It was during the regular session and it was right into that closing bell. And then on the closing bell, they just started to drop it. Okay, now how did and then also in the ES, it decided to go take the top of what I had as the top for wave B, which was at 67.36. Well, they managed to blow through that, not by a whole lot, but enough, 67.43. So I had to really take this apart, put it back together again. And I think that after looking, studying, throwing around ideas, putting it all together, that this is what I've come up with, that it ends up being a double ABC for the B. And there was the first ABC, and there was the second. So we had an X wave. So it's ABC X, ABC, a double ABC. Or, as I think some people might be able to say, WXY. So either way, double ABC is how I'm going to label this right now, leaving it as a B wave. Now, might be temporary, might be permanent. Market has a way of doing this. Again, we're in a corrective portion of what should end up being finishing a minute fourth wave and beginning another impulse in minute wave 5. So you get a lot of crazy stuff going on in the corrections, and now we're seeing this, and it gets dragged out. So the other thing that you may have noticed by now, that impulse waves take real quick. Just bing, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're done. Now, it may take on a bigger scale, it might take them a while. But boy, when we get into these corrections, either a wave 2 or a wave 4, and just an ABC, which is all we're doing, an ABC to put in minute wave 4. And it just is like pulling teeth without anesthesia. So as it stands, I still have it AB, which means we should still come down in that C wave. Kicked off okay, but you know what? Who knows? Who knows anymore? Today, major expiration, quarter end. Now, maybe we'll get that relief where that's done, and we'll see where things go from here. Now, just because I'm curious and I didn't check it beforehand, I am going to go out. I'm going to go over to that SPX, and I'm going to go to those December options. Come on. And that's what the next one's going to be. They moved it out to December, and it's December the 31st, the absolute last day. And let's start to scroll down. We're looking for 40,000. That's way too low. And so I'm just going to start looking for that. 55, 50, da, 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 da. I'm sure it's been done. 63, can't be up that high. I must have passed it. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. There it is. 63.35 is 35,000. Ooh, 62.90, 71,000. So anyway, these would be two high candidates right there. 62.90, 63.30. Let's keep, oops. Let's keep moving down and I'm just looking for that collar, folks. That's what I'm looking for. And it's usually around 40,000, but then again, maybe it's pretty big. So they went bigger. There's 35,000, 53.40. So that's also, and look at that. There's another 72,000 at 53.10. So maybe they've got a little bit more complex. Because we're getting close to what their numbers are. And I've not seen them where they put it in quite this low. This would be beyond that 3%. Okay, so now we're going to go up the other side and look for the calls. Volume. We got to go to the volume section. Okay. 71,000. There we are. 69.55. Wow. I would think that it would be higher than that. So let me just, I know you're all just kind of bearing with me, right? And then we have 42,000 here at 7,000. And excuse me, while I just put that on silence. Okay. So 42,000 at 7,000. I think that might be where it is. So let's just kind of check to see if we get anything else higher up. No. All right. We'll find out for sure because the folks over at SpotCam are really good at spotting that. All right, so let's go back to our chart. Over on the ES. So, folks, yeah, thank you for divulging me so that I can just kind of go in there and see if I could find it. Um, and it's on. It just doesn't matter. Did they increase it or did they decrease it? So it's either choice between 35,000 or 72,000, which is pretty interesting. All right. So I am going to kind of leave this like this for right now, which suggests we're going to be coming down in five ways to put in minuet wave C and minute wave 4. Our targets actually remain kind of the same. We'll go back out to that hourly chart, which makes it a lot easier to see. So again, there's the 100, 1.618, 2.618 brings us down to that low of the previous fourth. So if it's going to be if it was a kind of a full blowout going up, maybe it'll be going down. Again, got plenty of stuff that could shake the world here. So, but here's our markers. First one, 6609. That is where wave C would be equal to wave A. So still, that puts a new low in. That's perfect. Um, Also, just by the way, so that you know, before I go to the downside, to finish the upside, I don't know if this is all done. So we could get an irregular B. And the first marker for a regular B is going to be at 67.87. We got up to 67.43. What's another 43 bucks, 44 bucks between friends, right? Get up there, do this irregular, and then come flying back down. Because I think that's pretty much what could happen. I mean, I don't really see anything that's going to bolster to say we should just keep going up now. We're getting new tariffs thrown out there every other day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put these tariffs on this and tariffs on that. In fact, we had the chairman of Ford Motor Company coming out and talking about it today. It's like, this doesn't make it easier for them to sell cars, because they get a lot of stuff in to build the cars. Some of the cars are built in Canada. Some of the parts and things that Ford deals with. It's like, so I think that they actually had a statement. Now I can't remember the number, but it's quite a large number that they could get smacked with in terms of what their costs have just increased by, just to get us the cars that we like to drive. So again, I think that creeps back into the conversation because we still have to deal with a lot of things with China, a lot of things with just other countries. So that's not over yet. Okay, but I'm leaving that be there for right now. If we turn and swing higher overnight, or even when Globex opens in about 20 minutes, well, that's our next target up there. And then the next one above that is at 68 plus 100 plus, and that would just be 1.382. Now, can I actually say, this ABC is actually wave 4? I could if we just get a runaway here. I mean, if it just runs away. And I have to tell you, when we look at the internals on this stuff, it's a mess. It's a mess. So it just does not present itself as impulsive. So if I had to put the 4 there, this needs to be, now that part was impulsive, but what was this? What was this? If we're supposed to be impulsive to the upside. We have moments of impulse type moves, but they just don't necessarily fit with what would have to be to put this inside of that minute wave 5. So I'm not doing that yet, he says. So in any case, I don't have many more things to add. I just want to take a quick look out at our moving averages, which I haven't done in a while. Look at that. Not even phased. Not even phased with the up and down. There's the 8, the 20, the 50, and the 200 still in position to go up. So I'd love to see this get down here, get finished with this minute fourth wave, and then in earnest go up in that minute fifth wave. Hopefully, when that happens, we will get some, and I'm putting quotes around this, you just can't see me do it, normalization and how things trade. We won't be getting this incredible push-pull that we continue to see today. We're going to pull it this way. Oh, we're going to pull it that way. Oh, we're doing it together, and it's just going nowhere. So, an impulse, I would be looking for most stocks to impulse. Let's not forget as well that 14th of October, we start with the earnings, third quarter earnings, and it'll be the banks up first. So we got that to look forward to. We got a little bit of a break to finish this minute fourth wave and start getting going that minute fifth wave as earnings begin. All right, I am going to finish that. I'll take a quick look to see tomorrow. Uh, what we have is ADP employment, the S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI, construction spending, ISM manufacturing, and auto sales. That ought to be a treat, right? Um, ADP is 8:15 a.m., 9:45 S&P final manufacturing PMI, 10 a.m. construction spending on ISM manufacturing, and then throughout the day, our auto sales will be reported. All right. Next update will be tomorrow morning.